Hey everybody, it's Galmadex, and welcome back to another premiere draft of MTG Foundations. Without further ado, let's get into the pack one, pick one, and we have a tremendously weak pack here, unfortunately. Really don't like any of these uncommons. Revenge of the Rats looks like it'd be really cool build around, but there's really not a great super creature heavy self-mill deck in the format. And then Aetherize is just a little too narrow for the full 4 mana. It's not often your opponent goes for the full wide settle the wreckage style swing. The Mischievous Pup's a bit overcosted. Having only 1 toughness on the 3 mana creature is rough, even if it does have some good synergies with good enter effects. And obviously Omniscience is unplayable in draft, so that narrows down pretty much all of our rares and uncommons to being unplayable, so I'm just going to take Healer's Hawk here. The only competition is Strongbox Raider, our one decent uncommon. It's a 4 mana 5/2, I believe, and if you got a raid trigger with it, you can potentially draw a card off of it, but that card is only going to be available until the end of your next turn, so it is a little narrow in terms of the kind of decks it'll go to. I like Healer's Hawk in literally every white deck, but I've played red decks before that actually aren't that great at raid because you can do slightly more controlling things with like blue-red. So pick 2 now, probably just going to stick to white here and grab a Youthful Valkyrie. There's a lot of pretty good angels in the format. There are several at common, uncommon, and rare. So a 2 mana 1/3 flyer with potential upside is a pretty good rate. Alternatively, we have some decent green uncommons. The Nessian Hornbeetle can get decently big pretty fast, and the Snakeskin Veil is good at protecting stuff. But that's about it for this pack as well. Another pretty weak one, but we'll just stick to just mono white flyers for now. Pick 3, now there's Luminous Rebuke. That is a very solid white removal spell. Obviously 5 mana destroy target creature is a little overcosted nowadays, but 2 mana destroy a tapped creature at instant speed's an incredibly good deal, so it meets in the middle and becomes just a pretty decent removal spell. Alternatively, Tranquil Cove for some fixing, or maybe Refute, Burglar Rat are decent off-color cards. Overrun if you're a super creature-heavy deck. Although I have liked the Elvish Regrower as a value play as well. Just have not gotten anything really going in green as a color. Pick 4. There's Infestation Sage, an incredible card for sacrifice decks, and just a pretty decent deal up front. I don't mind taking that here. Light Shell Duo has been definitely more impressive than it was in Bloomburrow, so I think that's one of the better commons in this pack as well. There's also Squad Rallier that can be a pretty good mana sink in the late game, and Inspiring Paladin is fine. Yeah, it's Squad Rallier or speculate towards Infestation Sage because it's just on average a stronger card for the mana cost. The big issue here is that it is more speculative, since obviously we are much more likely to be white than black right now. I think Sage is good enough to speculate towards. Pick 5, there's a second copy. We also have Brineborn Cutthroat for a deck with a lot of instants in it. That can be pretty good. Strix Lookout's fine. But I think if I don't take Sage, I'm just taking Vanguard Seraph here. It's an angel to go with the Youthful Valkyrie. It's a pretty filler one. It's basically just a 4 mana 3/3 flyer. So I think I'm still just going Sage. Pick 6. All right. We'll just start with 3 Infestation Sage in a row and get our secondary color all locked in here. Now pick 7. Definitely something filler either way, like a Macabre Waltz, an Armisar Guide. Even Goblin Surprise is pretty filler if we wanted to speculate off color, maybe move towards Rakdos or something. I don't think that's strong enough to really go for. It's just pretty filler, much like what we would take on color. I'll grab the Waltz here. Pick 8. Vengeful Blood Witch. Not a great card for every deck, but Black-White has some cards that trigger whenever you gain life. So having this to do that is going to be nice, and a deck with 3 Infestation Sage is already going to be leaning towards picking up some sacrifice cards, having a lot of cheap expendable creatures to sacrifice, and that's another way to kind of get the Blood Witch going. So I think that looks fine here. Now a Fake Your Own Death. Sanguine Siphoner hits some good synergies for us, or the Gutless Plunderer is a fine way to set up your draws. Yeah, so we've got a really good setup towards black-white life gain. So if we find any of the cards like a Johnny's Pridemate that trigger every time we gain life, we're going to be really happy. We have Hawk, Siphoner, and Blood Witch already, and just by the virtue of being in this color pair, we're in a good position to take a life gain focused deck. We can also grab some half-off color tap lands, because if we get enough cards in the deck that care about gaining life, then it's worth it to play a Plains that comes into play tapped so that we can trigger all of those life gain cards. For now, this is just like speculative fixing, but again, if we get the Ajani's Pridemates or the 4-mana Panda version or whatever that is, we'll definitely run the Tranquil Cove even if we're not playing blue. Okay, there's Ajani's Pridemate. Do I take that over Vampire Nighthawk, though? This card is insane. We're also only 3 cards deep towards white, so it's possible by taking Vampire Nighthawk, we can swap colors here. If we see anything more powerful, there are 2 green rares here, both of which are pretty good, but I think Vampire Nighthawk is just so good for the rate that I'm happy to just stick on color over bouncing off white or black here. There's also Bake into a Pine. We have no removal spells yet, although Vampire Nighthawk does a really good impersonation of a removal spell, being that death touching flyer to block whatever you need it to. I'm just going to take Vampire Nighthawk, probably overvaluing that, but I really love that card. And now we get 2 in a row. That's going to make that look pretty decent. We are definitely in black now. Really cool reprint here, seeing Goblin Bushwhacker back from original Zendikar. Card is sweet for constructed formats. Okay, pick 3. These white cards are pretty filler, but in red we have quite a solid little removal spell with the Heartfire Immolator. So we can speculate on that, or take a Sanguine Siphoner or an Evolving Wilds as the safe picks. I'm going to speculate on Immolator. I think it's strong enough. Pick 4. Probably Billowing Shriek Mass, as we are very likely in black here. The card is quite decent. Sure. Pick 5. Crystal Barricade doesn't do much, does it? No, it's just like built to combat burn decks in constructed formats. This is not a constructed format. It's going to be pretty narrow here. Got a Meteor Golem, Evolving Wilds, Seeker's Folly. The added flexibility on Seeker's Folly probably does make this pretty decent. And again, we're definitely in black. I don't think I've ever run a Seeker's Folly yet, so let's try it out. Pick 6. There's that Revenge of the Rats again. I don't think the original wheeled, but I wasn't looking for it because I don't think it's a very good card. This might be a position we can try for it with Shriek Mass nonsense. I only have the 1 Shriek Mass, though. Yeah, I still just don't think that's going to be good. I'm going to grab Evolving Wilds here. Pick 7. Boros card is not going to happen. We are definitely not doing 3 color. So Courageous Goblin, curve out if we go red, or Vanguard Seraph is another flyer if we go white. I think I can go Vanguard Seraph here. I like how our white looks paired against our black more than our red does right now. Or more than our red looks. Pick 8. Now we take Courageous Goblin. I'm not going to play multiple copies of Macabre Waltz. Pick 9, another Vanguard Seraph. I actually like Angel Finality a little better. 4 toughness versus 3 toughness is quite a big difference. There's just a lot of 3/3s and 3/2s and stuff like that. And the enter effect is actually pretty relevant on this card. There's a lot of decks that will care about the graveyard. There's Flashback, there's Threshold. If you're playing against either of those mechanics, they're going to have a very bad time when you resolve your Angel Finality. Oh, we're getting a lot of good red late. Yeah, we really are. We have double goblin here. I think I actually go for the 3-drop then. Wow, yeah, just get like 6 red cards in a row at the end of the pack. So red's more open from that direction. But we have enough cards towards white as well that we can just take the strongest cards. I have no sacrifice cards in the deck right now. So involuntary employment doesn't actually do its thing yet, even if we do go Rakdos, which is surprising and kind of sad. So I think we're taking Prideful Parent then. Pack 3, pick 2. Once again, the red kind of sucks. There's literally no black. So we take the white spell, the Guarded Air. Definitely the white spell here with Sunblessed Healer, reanimating something from grave and being a good lifelinking threat. Although Infernal Vessel's really good for sack decks, but again, as I said before, we have 0 cards in our deck that actually sacrifice something. And we've seen 0 cards in these 3 picks here that do that, so it doesn't look like we get to be Rakdos sack. With the start of this pack showing us exclusively good white cards, we've kind of just been told where we have to be now. We are now black-white, because there were just no red cards to take. First 3 picks here. That's a Giada. Alright. 2 mana 2/2 Flying Vigilance is already insane. We don't really need to have a lot of angels for that to be good, but we do have 2 already. Pick 5, we actually got a removal spell out of black. We have a Bacon to a Pie and a Luminous Rebuke now. Definitely less removal than you want, but now we get a stab pick 6. Alright, the deck luckily just completely came together in our final pack. We could use another 3-drop, join the party, Gutless Plunderer. And this is our deck. That's 23 non-land cards. Every pick that we take, we get to improve the deck a little bit from now on. Super happy with this. It was a pretty bouncy draft. Never really saw anything massively exciting or massively powerful. So this kind of is just where we've landed. Sadly, a great Rakdos card here. I'm not really going to play a Blight Priest, though. Maybe I play it over Gutless Plunderer. Maybe triple Sage without any sack stuff. We drop one of those Sages to run a Blight Priest here. We'll do that. Creature count 17. It's pretty good. Soul Shackled Zombie is like an Angel of Finality on the ground. But it drains them life when it hits as well. I don't think we have room for this. I would prefer the Shriek Mass and definitely the Angels with both Youthful Valkyrie and Giada. And then Sunblessed Healer is like really good at 4 as well. Yeah, I don't think I have room for Soul Shackled Zombie at 4 mana. Prideful Parent, Blight Priest, Nighthawk. Those are all definitely better than Paladin in this deck. Is Gutless Plunderer, though? I'm not sure. I'm still going to run Gutless Plunderer over the Inspiring Paladin. But that's a pretty close one. I don't think we care enough about life gain to run the off-color. Tap lands. And there you go. Very standard, very mediocre little Orzhov deck here. We'll see how it plays out for us as we head into the gameplay. Alright, here we are for game number 1. Really solid opener here. Just curving out. Plenty of interaction back up as well. Hello, Pridemate. I imagine I have to just stab that before they have an opportunity to gain any life here. I would love to just cast a Giada, but if I slam down Giada and then they gain 1 life this turn off a tap land or something, then I'm going to have to rebuke the Pridemate and not have the bigger removal left for something bigger later. Okay, Dazzling Angel is kind of annoying. Got the Fake Your Own Death, I guess. Clear out of the way, but I think I'm still playing to the board for now. Let's just get the Giada down first, and then we can swing both and Fake Your Own Death. Felid our savior with the 1 angel on board. And they send in, alright. So we get to crack back. Could just rebuke here. Rebuke, play the sage. Yeah, fake your own deathing on blocks can go really, really poorly. Because if they have their own instant speed removal, we block, cast Fake Your Own Death, they respond by killing Giada with just like a stab before Fake Your Own Death even resolves. There are definitely downsides to either play. It really depends on what's in their hand here. Like if they have a scarier creature, then it's rough that we've spent our rebuke, but if they have a removal spell in hand and I try to block Fake Your Own Death, that's also going to go really bad. And we definitely want to kill the Dazzling Angel. So we would try to kill it with Fake Your Own Death if we don't rebuke there. So fingers crossed a little bit that if they do have another scary creature, it's also small enough to trade into a rebuke, or sorry, a Fake Your Own Death. Eaten alive, exile Giada, sure. That's not bad. Siphoner, hold up Fake Your Own Death, or just slam down Parent. I'm never out racing the lifelinker, so I do need to try to kill it here at some point. If I get 2 for 1 and lose my Fake Your Own Death and an Infestation Sage, it's not the worst 2 for 1 in the world, so we'll try it here. Let's see if they do have the instant speed removal. But we did see them just use an Eaten Alive, so alright. Well, they have an N instant here. Let's see what it is. Sure. Yeah, this isn't the worst 2 for 1 in the world because now they don't have a Hero's Downfall for a creature that actually matters. And we can double block with Prideful Parent next turn. I do have Macabre Waltz in this deck. I'll hold on to the Swamp. They also could have Burglar Rat, so if I draw something I don't want to immediately cast, having an extra land in the hand can prevent Burglar Rat from going wild. And we are officially in the top deck war. Whee! Wow, they have to Luminous Rebuke a Healer's Hawk. Time to see who draws better. Helpful Hunter is really good. And a Healer's Hawk of their own. Macabre Waltz is beautiful in the top deck war. And I think we just lose. It's a lot of how this format feels. It's just play out a game. Eventually it gets to a little bit of a board stall with each player at 10, and then just see who draws better. Pretty basic stuff. All right. Still technically dying somewhat slowly. It'll take like 5 turns. But we're dying a little faster than it looks like, because obviously that Pride Mate can get juiced up really quickly. Yep. Nope. I was going to say trade off the Healer's Hawk to juice up the Pride Mate. Nope. That is not the play. They just attack with the Angel. Gutless Plunderer, another incredible draw for a top deck war because they get to mill 2 lands and keep the spell and the top 3 on top. Seeker's Folly. Kill the Helpful Hunter and the Healer's Hawk or make them discard 2. The Helpful Hunter on board doesn't really matter at all. If I send in Prideful Parent and they block it with Felidar Savior, I can kill the Savior as well, but the problem is they'll just block with a Johnny's Pride Mate potentially. They might play around a Fake Your Own Death or a Stab, in which case they do block with Savior instead of Pride Mate. So maybe it is send in Parent, Seeker's Folly, -1/-1. I mean, killing Helpful Hunter doesn't matter at all. Killing Healer's Hawk is just so I don't have to trade the Insect into it. I think I'm just going to rip the hand here. Land, fair enough. Oops, I didn't kill one Healer's Hawk. What a punt. Well, our opponent's drawn infinitely better, and we're on to the next game. Alright, here we are for game 2. We got some pretty awkward mana here. Double plains, 2 white spells, 3 black spells. Feels like I gotta mulligan that one. This is much better mana. I think I ditched a land here. Angel's gonna be sitting here doing nothing for a while, but so would land 3. If I ditch the Angel and keep land 3, there's nothing I'm using that third land on anyway. Gnarled Colony, our opponent is on the play here. They're going to get to curve out a little more aggressively, which means I think I should just throw this stab out early to slow our opponent down, buy us a little more time on the defensive. There's a Tiny Bones that is out of reach of a stab, and that is also horrific for me, because if I don't kill that, they get to spend 4 mana, tap, discard a card, and they draw that card into their hand each turn. Yep, if we don't kill Tiny Bones, that's just gonna win. And I don't have anything that could kill it in this hand. Now I have to give them a Guarded Air in order to play Angel Finality next turn. Seems pretty good. It's a Giada. Oh, and I can't dump my hand, so Tiny Bones gets to 6 for 1-us now. Forced us to discard 3 and let them draw 3. If they activate Tiny Bones again, though, they're still putting nothing on their board this turn. And they're at 15 right now. Yeah, so they go Guarded Air this turn instead, so I might be able to dump my hand here and stop getting Tiny Bones. That's actually gonna work, I believe. So they activate Tiny Bones in response. I can Luminous Rebuke it before the ability resolves, but after it's tapped. Stab is very efficient here. Goodbye, Giada. But they're down to 8. We got 6 power flyers on the board. Youthful Valkyrie really putting in work. Boy, oh boy. Land. Ooh, that's a bad one to hit. Because if I cast Seraph, then they can Tiny Bones my Luminous Rebuke, and then rebuke one of my flyers. Makes them more likely to live. But I guess they're at 8. So we put them to 1 with a Blood Witch on board. So then, in theory, if they rebuke one of the flyers, they die. But they can gain 1 off of the Guarded Air. I mean, I think I have to play this. I definitely don't attack with Blood Witch here. Because it'll just trade into Guarded Air, and they will gain 1 and then lose 1. So they'll still be at 1 life, and then I don't have Blood Witch triggering if they use any removal. Yeah, no, maybe the Seraph actually does get there barely. I mean, we might just be dead to Galta. Like, maybe I had to just hold up Rebuke here. Alright, yeah, that works. We're dead. And if I get another turn, that's not going to matter. We just kill them. But I do not get another turn. Yeah, alright, well, we were dead no matter what. If I held up Rebuke, it wouldn't be killing anything yet, so all of their removal would resolve. Then I could kill the tapped Galta and take all of that damage. But they would have double removal spell. I would not have played the Seraph. So they would have killed... Oh my god, and they had the 4 mana up? Yeah, so the alternative, if I didn't just try to get lethal there with Seraph, was that I would have Seraph still in my hand. So I'd have 2 cards in hand here. I could not Luminous Rebuke anything because I don't have 5 mana up, which is why the Seraph was a bad draw. Land 5 would have been the perfect draw. So I would have been holding Rebuke for once they tap the Galta and attack me. So the turn would be, they still bite down a flyer, bushwhack a flyer, or bite down the Blood Witch, bushwhack a flyer or something. Attack with everybody, except Tiny Bones. I then rebuke the Galta, then they get to Tiny Bones the Seraph. They would be... Instead of 2, they'd be at 3. So I guess they would have had to spend removal spells on both the flyers there. This would be a 3-5, that would be a 3-4, but because they have a Galt on board, they could have spent removal on both of them. So they'd go removal spell on both flyers. I would be sitting here with just the Blood Witch instead, because they could kill these 2 at 3 life, take 2 triggers, go to 1 life. Be at 1 life against me having a single Blood Witch and no cards left in hand. Yeah. Alright. 0-2 heading into game 3. Alright, let's just go through the motions, get this draft over with. If there are any rares to be salvaged from this to lose a little less gems, I will go for it, but turn 1 Llanowar is not looking good for us. The best turn 1 play in green. Alright, Light Priest. What has he got in there? What is he doing? Oh, he's got a balloon! Oh, thank you. Random opponent's pet. That's pretty adorable. Alright, well, we're just jamming with flyers, I guess. Probably drop Shriek Mass next turn. I guess the benefit to dropping Plunderer would be filling the grave potentially for healer. Shriek Mass also fills the grave, though. So those 2 are going to work together pretty well. Pretty happy I started with the beefier flyer here, so we can still send into the Shriek Mass. Oh, a free kill. Giant growth. Snakeskin Veil. 1-for-1 trade then is still good. Actually, this is a 2-for-1 trade. I trade my Fake Your Own Death into their Veil and their creature. Let's set up our draws here. I could Shriek Mass, but I like the card selection. Either way we play it, we're playing a 2-power creature that's not likely to be blocked. 2-power flyer or 2-power death toucher. So it's kind of the same damage output either way. So let's set up our card draw instead. And that feels good. Yeah, it's got to be Shriek Mass over Angel when we've got Sunblessed Healer in our hand. There we go, there's a Giada for the healer, that's pretty good. Needle Thorn Pact, just some big green beef. But the Flyers are looking to go the distance here. We are at the point now of holding the Plunderer back to block one of the giant green creatures, though. Now that they've got 2 of them, and we've taken a hit from the Stomper. Okay. You know what? No, we've got plenty of chumps here off of Sunblessed Healer. Chump with a Blight Priest and a Sunblessed Healer. Still have Giada, Seraph, Shriek Mass on board. Okay, they're down to 5. Here's a Chumper and a Flyer. There's a Gold Vein pick. Let's gain 1, deal 1. Or gain 3, deal 1. Keep a Rebuke. Alright, we get there in the sky. That is 1 and 2 heading into game 4. Here we are for game 4 against a red deck. Ooh. We're gonna have a turn 2 Giada here. Don't mind if I do. That'll be a turn 3 4/4 flyer. If they don't immediately remove her with a Burst Lightning. Or like a double Firebrand, but that would be really in our favor. They'd have to spend 2 of their cards to kill 1 of ours that we're just going to get back with a Sunblessed Healer soon enough. No blocks. Down to 16. There's the Gold Vein pick. But only 2 lands from them so far, so this is going to be a really nice turn. Got the 4/4 flyer down, while they just have a 2/2 as their biggest creature. They can make it a 3/3 with Gold Vein pick, in which case they spend the Cavalry and the Firebrand to kill the Seraph, but again, I am all for taking 2-for-1s. And there's the concession from our opponent. Just a rough hand for them, and we are 2 and 2, pretty quickly recovering from our 0-2 start. Now we've got 1 more game to be at a 50-50 here, if we can get another win. Let's see how it all turns out for us heading into game number 5. Alright, here we are on the play for game 5. We have Infestation Sage into a Vampire Nighthawk soon enough. There's a Frenzied Goblin from our opponents that are also on some aggro nonsense. The Seeker's Folly already has 1 kill lined up. They do not have a turn to play. Get our Vampire Nighthawk down there. If nothing else, might get them to spend red on stopping it from blocking. There's Courageous Goblin, and they're stuck on 2 mana again? I say again, but they're technically a different opponent, but it's another mono red deck stuck on 2 lands. I really don't want to just Seeker's Folly discard 2 right now, so I'm just going to play the Healer's Hawk and keep some damage coming. Well, Magic is a game of variance, and that is what this draft is telling us today. 3-2. At least half these games weren't really games at this point. We are 3-2 heading into game 6. Alright, here we are on the play for game number 6. We took an 0-2 start, mana screwed our opponents, and now we're at 3-2 here, so whatever happens, we are at a 50-50 run at worst. Playing against a green deck here. This was a slightly risky hand with only 2 lands in it, but obviously it has the Sage, Fake Your Own Death combo, which is pretty fun. Get an additional 1/1 flyer out of that eventually, but more importantly, get a treasure token here. And we have the 2 mana removal spell as well with Luminous Rebuke, so I think it's an okay start. We did hit land 3, so now off of a Fake Your Own Death, we'll be able to play the Billowing Shriek Mass. It'll still be some time before the Guarded Air, but then we're really just having 1 unplayable card in hand. We basically took a mulligan if I don't get to cast this Guarded Air. We can pretend we mold to 6 and cast all our spells once we get the Shriek Mass and the Rebuke going. There's Think Twice from our opponent, looking for land 3 probably. There's Evolving Wilds, grab whatever color they need. We're playing against LSV. Not actual LSV, but Luck Skill Victory. Yeah, an LSV mnemonic thing. I'm guessing? I don't know who came up with that. I'm guessing it was somebody at Channel Fireball, somebody in LSV's play group. I don't know if he himself said that it's about luck, skill, and victory. But obviously it's an LSV play on words thing. There's the Campus Guide to put the 4th land on top. Wow. This is just like every single opponent just having mana issues now for the past like 4 games. I think just the past 3 games. I think our first win, our opponent just kind of had some big green creatures while we had all flyers. But yeah, past 3 opponents have just not had good mana here. They had to think twice to hit their 3rd land. They missed land drop 4 on turn 4, so they had to Campus Guide it to the top, which is a really rough line. And now there's just a Light Shell duo that we can rebuke and send in the whole team. Game's looking pretty over, but we'll see how strong their potential like bombs are. They can have some kind of bomb rare here. They could have a shot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I put them to 1 life if they trade with Blood Witch. Let's just get it all in there. Our opponent might be over it here. They might have closed arena or went and got a drink. What is going on? They had a stop on their turn and then a stop. They had a stop during their upkeep and then they put a stop during our upkeep. Our opponent has mastered the art of roping. This is not simply closing the arena client. These are not when it stops. Alright, well. I guess it gives us more time to savor our victory here. And we are 4-2 now. The mana screw will continue until our win rate improves. We went from 0-2 into 4-2, and a lot of that was pure luck off of our opponent's misfortune. We are now pretty much breaking even on gyms. If we can get at least one more win, we will be in the money out of this draft. All right, I am going to keep this. We really want to draw Swamp here, so I can go Valkyrie into Nighthawk into Shriekmass. If we can do that, it's going to be a really nice start. But worst case scenario, it's really unlikely we don't hit a land in 4 draw steps. So our worst case scenario is still going to be Valkyrie into Shriekmass, setting up for the late game Guarded Air. And at this rate, that looks like the case. We'll probably play Angel of Finality first instead, though, since we did draw an Angel to go with the Valkyrie. Although right on time, that Swamp arrives for Vampire Nighthawk. Last possible moment, but it's here. There's Prideful Parent with the Good Fortune Unicorn. That puts a counter on each creature, right? Yeah, that's insane. And we might just get steamrolled by the Unicorn here. Sure, we're playing all flyers here, so they're not going to be able to block any of our stuff, but if they put more power on the board faster than we do, we're still going to die, so this could be a problem. I think I am racing, though, with my lifelink, but I'm certainly concerned this Unicorn is going to make their double Unicorns certainly going to make their board big enough to try to outrace us. But the 3-4, that big booty on the Angel Finality coming in so clutch to just hold off their attacks here. We've got them down to 8 with enough flying power to kill them on board. There's a chump blocker for us, but we're at 24, so we don't even need it. But I'll still chump anyway, it'll give me another flyer. There's the Indrik. Does that stop enough damage? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the sky. It does. We can deal 7 to them on the crackback if we chump with Sage, which is not quite lethal, but I will still chump. Definitely enjoy getting more flyers. There's a Bake into a Pie, and they have no reach creatures. 2, 4, 6, 7. I have no way to get 2 more cards in my grave, do I? No, I can put a Bake into a Pie in my grave for the 6th card for Threshold, but unless I have a creature that I can target and destroy, I'm not going to hit that, and I don't. Because obviously if I kill a flyer, I'm dealing less damage anyway. Okay, so I think we just Prideful Parent. I mean, I suppose Bake into a Pie, Eat the Food is fine too. But Parent blocks a tiny bit more damage, and then I can have the Bake into a Pie to potentially kill like a reach creature or a flyer if they manage to somehow deal with multiple of these. Yeah, Prideful Parent is like technically stopping more damage than Bake into a Pie would. Bake into a Pie would stop 8, and this stops 9 damage. Day of Judgment with the 1 life left. Feels good to have a Guarded Air. And that's GG from our opponent. Land off the top. 1 Treetop Snare Spinner is not going to do it. And we are 5-2. 0-2 into 5-2. The 5-win streak off of a lot of luck and some pretty great curve outs. We are now in the money out of this draft. All right, game number 8. Infestation Sage has hit the board. And we're ready to start swinging with a 1-1. It's going to be real scary. Okay. Mischievous Mimic is genuinely really scary. If they play anything that lets them like draw a card, discard a card, it's going to trigger it, get another 1-1 flyer onto the board. We don't have our stab or any of our other removals, so could die real quick to that. That is definitely one of the cards that demands quick answers. I need the double white for healer. Could ditch Sage, but I think I'm just playing Sage next turn. Don't want to ditch Fake Your Own Death. Yeah, I guess I'm ditching Evolving Wilds here, which is awkward if I draw one of my Nighthawks. Find a Macabre Waltz. Yeah, maybe I was supposed to we keep evolving wilds over the plains. But I guess it's not like I would be cracking it for a swamp anyway, because I have the double white spell in hand. Well, this is looking like a nightmare. They have a stab now. Oh, I do get to fake my own death at least. There's their own Evolving Wilds. Mystic has surprisingly still not triggered a single time. Big Fin Bouncer. Sit down, Sanguine Siphoner. Okay. Well, Healer and Waltz are both real bad without actually having our creatures die, so... have to just pass here. Another Big Fin Bouncer. Nice. Down to 13. I like the Plunderer here. We're a land away from Guarded Air off of our treasure token. Sure. Angel of Finality. Could have taken the land here, but I do need to block the Mystic. And I have like a lot of cards to recur creatures from grave, so I think I'm going to go Angel here and then start using all my graveyard recursion now that we've got a Plunderer in there. Start making some blocks on these Bouncers. Make a block on the Mystic. Maybe they'll use a removal on my Angel as well. Okay, one card in their hand. Not removal. Please. It is an instant. It seems. Whoop. No, we want to skip that. It is removal. Alright, I'll have to redraw it for next turn then. Awkward. Somehow our opponent has drawn not a single piece of card draw. 17 cards in to go with their Mischievous Mystic. They're halfway through with 0 Mischievous Mystic synergy, so I expect that to show up any time now. This is a big part about why I thought that this game was going to be over. Is like, if that triggers just like once or twice, we're so far behind, but we have just completely dodged the Mystic. Which feels quite good. This is the biggest creature that the healer can reanimate anyway. 6 life. They're at 12. Swing, take 2, but then I get to swing a lifelinker next turn and a siphoner. Yeah, I think I actually can pressure them here. Thanks to Sunbless Healer's lifelink. Ooh, definitely with Vampire Nighthawk I can. Seven to 7? No, 6 to 7. I'm bad at math. Here's Nighthawk. Waltz back, Plunderer, Healer, discard Plunderer. That doesn't seem like a play. Ooh, they do have the bake into the pie for the Nighthawk, so they gain 3. They're back to 9. But the only ground creature they have now is the Burglar Rat. This is going to be a really close one. Our draws are insane, though. Down to 2. Show me how you get through the next Nighthawk. Dreadwing Scavenger, that's 2 blockers up. They need 5 blockers because Siphoner is going to put them to 1 off the attack trigger. Oh yeah, that's 4 blockers. They found the Mystic combo. Yeah, this is the really good one. Mystic. If you get turn 2 Mischievous Mystic into turn 3 Dreadwing Scavenger, one of the scariest ways you can use that card. Really good combo. Seeker's falling my hand away, but they're dead on board, so we got it. Lethal. They couldn't Seeker's Folly the board away, though, because the 2 creatures they would have killed would have just popped right back as flyers. So that is 6-2. 6 wins in a row after our early losses. Heading into the final boss with this deck. This will be the final battle, win or lose. Alright, here we are for the final battle. This is a keepable hand. The Sunblessed Healer is not great in it. I think we probably have to just curve it out. And just get the 3-1 Lifelinker beating down turn 2. Ooh, especially against that. Because they are not going to want to block with that, at least. Oh, if they've got enough other zombies, we've got issues. Oof. Infernal Vessel. Immediately a massive issue. When it dies, it comes back as a 4-3, so they're so fine to block with that. At least we're super fine to attack with Infestation Sage. We both get some value here. There's a zombie. Hungry Ghoul has arrived. So that is their infinite blocker with Zula Sure. Oh. Never mind. Chilling in the sky now. Definitely getting outraced currently, but the Guarded Air is going to put a nice roadblock on the ground. Reassembling Skeleton Hungry Ghoul is quite good, but I've got the Bacon to a Pie for the Ghoul. I just need the Swamp. 5 planes before the second Swamp is rough. We are on a 50-50 split. Prideful Parent's a good draw, though. It is early enough in the game that spending a bunch of mana, reassembling the skeleton, putting counters on Ghoul is not going to be their best line, so the extra Ghoul value is not insane. Felidar Savior is, though. This card is busted if you have 2 other creatures on board. The lifelink makes it like impossible to race. That is just a nightmare to see. But we've still got our flying game plan here, and Guarded Air just did a lot for us. They need some combat tricks here. Need multiple combat tricks. There's one. Alright, so we're still fine. My god, a Kiora too? This is certainly a final boss. They're 1 card away from their threshold. We are at our threshold off of the Evolving Wilds draw. Really bad to draw land at this point, so at least it's the land that gives us threshold. Hero's Downfall on the Shriekmask, sure. Move to combat, try to get an 8-8, no, but you can buff your Ghoul. Well, they didn't buff their Ghoul, let's go. We take those minor upsides. And they got the 1 mana combat trick, I guess? Alright, they're winning the race on board. We have got to stop hitting lands. We have drawn twice as many as our opponent. Giada is the draw. Not really good enough here. Actually, I don't think we've drawn twice as many because they got the Kiora 2 away. We draw one less than twice as many. Yeah, that Kiora forcing the bake there instead of on the ghoul might have done us in here. Sunblessed Healer's pretty insane on a rare like Zula Shore. And that is another land. They actually still don't have any zombies in their grave. Their only zombie is the one giant ghoul. Alright, it doesn't matter. We are dead now. I mean, we technically go to 1, but we have to lose our whole board. So that is the end of it. Yeah, that's not going to do it. We go to 3 by blocking ghoul, but we take 3 over there. For lethal, that is 6 and 3. So obviously we didn't get the whole trophy run, so the tiniest bummer ever, but off of the 0-2 start, like I was ready to just go 3, be done with it. Flipping it all the way around into 6 wins in a row, it's pretty nuts. That final battle, our opponent had a real strong deck. We hit a little too many lands. Those kind of things are going to happen. It was still a really respectable run, getting to 6 wins in a row, and that was a little bit of payback for the really gross streak where we had 3 or 4 games in a row where our opponents just had horrible mana. We had like 3 or 4 free wins in a row. So that'll balance it out a little bit there in the end. And yeah, not much to say about this deck or this draft. It's a really, really basic deck, really, really basic draft. There were no super exciting, super synergistic paths to go during the draft. We just took the best stuff we saw and went with the 2 colors where we saw the most solid spells and had a solid little average deck here. Would not expect a deck like this to get a 7-win run. It doesn't have any bombs. It does have a rare. That's not really like a bomb. And doesn't have a ton of removal here, but just a bake into a pie, a rebuke, and a stab. And there's also like a little bit of filler, like the sages without any sack synergies are a little awkward. Blight Priest is kind of filler, Plunder's kind of filler, some stuff like that. But it was still scrappy, still did its thing, still got a 6-win run. We will absolutely take it. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for supporting the channel, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below, and if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.